Okay.
We are live. We're back for the final ep of this season's Tap-In Premier League 2019-2020 season. A long, arduous one, but we finally got there in the end. I'm joined by Dan, Toby, and Twin One. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you.
Yeah.
No, I can hear.
Okay, you're struggling over there. Obviously,
Why does it seem so like your voice is so monotone? It feels like you're not happy that you finished third and you've got Champions League. I don't get it.
You know what? I've been done my celebrating. Do you know what I mean? And I'm in reflecting mode now. I wasn't too happy with that performance, but we're here anyway. Let's get into it. Quite an eventful day in the Premier League today, but I feel like there's no better place to start than with United's results. Nah, I'm playing. I'm going to start off with the relegated teams. So Aston Villa today, obviously drawing 1-1 with West Ham. Dan, I'm going to come to you because obviously last week me and you were saying that Aston Villa were dead certs to go down. We didn't think they could turn it around, and here they are today. Obviously, Jack Grealish doing it in one end and then doing it in the other end as well. Did you expect them to stay up after their performance midweek?
Yeah, obviously after they got the win against Arsenal, I did back them to stay up, but I didn't see that win coming. Really, based on the way that they defended all season, to be honest, I thought a clean sheet would have been too much to ask for them for any of these final two games that they had. But obviously they fought and they did their best to stay in the division, and we're seeing two terrible sides in Bournemouth and Watford go down in their place.
Yeah.
I'm gutted personally because Grealish's price tag now skyrockets. Unfortunately, Villa can ask for at least 70 million now, and rightly so. So that's a big chunk of our transfer budget gone.
What do you think? Do you think he's worth the 70 mil then?
100%. Like you can't not you could when you. I know it's not mainly on stats, but even if you just look at his performances and you look at how woeful Villa are, and you see what he's doing in the Aston Villa team, he can only get better around better players. So 70 million for a guy that's proven in the Premier League. How much did Arsenal pay for Pepe? That's unproven Premier League player who's flopped this year. 72 mil. So yeah, I think it's good business for Man United, and we need some depth anyway. So yeah, I think it'll be great business.
Yeah, I hear you there. Kobe, Bournemouth going down as expected, but they put up a fight today. What did you think of their performance? And we're gonna have to talk about Everton and Pickford again, but let's focus on Bournemouth for now. Is he there?
Yeah, they. You know what? Credit to Bournemouth. They did what they needed to do today. Like they knew they had to get 3 points. They went there, they got 3 points, and they obviously scored 3 goals. But like you said with Everton, they've come up against a side that were on holiday that decided that they were on holiday about 3-4 weeks ago. So, like, I mean, if you're fighting for your life and you got Jordan Pickford as the blocker between you and scoring a goal, I expect you to go there and literally lay siege to that goal, and that's what they did, and they got they got the 3 points courtesy of a bumbling buffoon between the sticks as well. But I think it's unfortunate for Bournemouth. I know it's a bit cliche, but the cherries are about to be plucked by the the cherries are about to be plucked by the Wolves.
Like
Bye David Brooks. Bye Callum Wilson. Bye Nathan Ake. Bye pretty much any sort of half decent people they have. They're going. They have to go.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Do you think Eddie Howe's going to stay there in the long term?
No,
I think so. I don't think he's got any. No one. Me personally, I don't think anyone's offering him a job right now off the back of this season. I think his stock has plummeted a little bit. So now he's Bournemouth through. So I imagine.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that because you got to realize. How many times has he kept them in the league? 3-4 times? He's pulled off 3-4 miracles.
Yeah.
5 seasons with that Bournemouth team. When you look at it on paper, I don't think his stock's plummeted because he's been working with a bunch of poor, substandard players for 4 or 5 years and kept them in the league. So yeah, I don't
But
think he's stopped.
who? I think I agree with Toby though, because I don't see who makes a move for Eddie Howe. Do you know what I mean? Like if you look at a lot of the teams that are still in the league, I don't know, maybe a West Ham if they get rid of David
that was
Moyes.
exactly what I was going to say. West Ham,
Potentially,
if they're clever, they'll get rid of Moyes.
But outside of that,
I don't see that as a long-term good fit.
But outside of them, I don't really see who makes a move for Eddie Howe. Like you're talking about Everton, this, that, and the other. But I think now that they've got their money, they've got their sights set on sort of bigger and better names than the likes of Eddie Howe. So I think he should probably just stay at Bournemouth, get them back into the Premier League, which I think he'll probably do well to do that.
Yeah, I think if you look at Eddie Howe as well, in recent seasons he spent some money on players. Obviously, we look at Solanke quite frequently, but he spent some money on signings that just haven't paid off for him. And I think he'd do well to sort of really look inward and investigate what sort of happened there, because teams like West Ham, where you get a lot of money, you can see them doing the same sort of thing where they hire a manager, they give him lots of money to spend, and it doesn't quite work out. So I don't even know if he'd be a great fit for West Ham, looking at the direction they want to go in. So hopefully we'll see him back in the Premier League soon, because I think they did have a good stint in the Premier League, but that's come to an end now. I wanna look at Arsenal Watford game. Dan, I don't know if you were watching that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think? I heard Watford's XG was something crazy today.
Yeah, they stuck it all over us, to be honest. I'm not surprised, because I know Deeney must have been doing his best not to. I know he's going to stay off socials today, because those cojones jokes are going to be all over the TL. Yeah, because
cojones grandes.
But to be fair to him and to be fair to Watford, they really tried their hardest not to go down today, man. Like the second half, especially, they literally came out all guns blazing. We were literally defending for our lives, and yeah, they were unlucky not to even equalize, let alone win. I think they probably deserve 3 points today, man. But yeah, to be honest, over the course of this season, yeah, because I mean the way they defended though was a shambles in the first half. So, which is why I say probably. But I just think over the course of the season they ain't done enough, which is why they're getting relegated. And I think the Pozzos, or whoever their owners are, Pozzos, whatever they're called, they deserve that relegation as well, because I'm
100% agree with that.
I'm sorry, yeah. Like to sack a manager 2 games before the end of the season, I don't know what sort of rejuvenation that's supposed to bring to the team or kick out the bum. But it's actually ridiculous, and I'm glad that they've been relegated.
Who was that bum they had in charge? Was it Hayden Mullins or something?
Hayden Mullins. Yeah, but I think it's harsh to call him a bum, like, because he's just he's just like learning the ropes, in it, you know. Like
I didn't mean it like that, but you know what I mean. Innit? I'm just saying that it's a disgrace. You throw a man under the bus who's never coached the team for the last 2 games. I just don't understand the logic. But Watford, they're going to get raided, because Decore will be gone, Zaha will be gone. Who else is there?
Will Hughes probably could do a job at a lot of Premier League teams, I think.
Yeah.
Where do you lot think Zaha's going to go?
I think Leicester really should be looking at Ismail Assar, if I'm being honest. I think West Ham should be looking at him. I think Everton should be looking at him. I think Arsenal 100% should be looking at him.
You named the perfect fit, Everton, because Everton have 0 wide men. He is perfect for them.
Yeah. So there's a lot of sides there who need to bolster their teams. I mean, Leicester are going to be in the Europa League next year. Arsenal, if they win the FA Cup, are going to be in the Europa League next year, and they need some direct wingers anyway. I think he's not going to have a shortage of suitors, to be honest. It's just a case of who can pay what Watford want. And I just wanted to make one more point on these teams. I think the likes of Bournemouth and Watford, the saving grace for them could be that the parachute payments, because obviously now they're in the Championship, they might obviously need to offload. I'm reading the comments. They might need to obviously offload some of the higher earners, but obviously with those parachute payments, they could probably afford to maybe give it a strong sort of push to actually come straight back up next year. So we might see some of their bigger players actually stay at the club, but we'll see anyway.
Yeah. Obviously, at this point, we've got West Brom and Leeds coming up. I think quite a few people are excited to see the return of Leeds and Marco Bielsa's team. And I think a few people are quite confident that they'll stay up. But if you look at West Brom's team, on the other hand, they have a really aging squad. I haven't followed them too much this season, but I don't think it's changed massively from when they went down. Do you see both of them sides staying up in the Premier League next season? Or
Leeds 100% are staying up. 100% because they'll invest as well. But I think Leeds, they'll score enough goals to stay up. Definitely.
The thing is with Leeds, though, I think they need a striker. I know they signed a guy in January from Leipzig. Was it the French guy?
Augustin.
He's on loan. He's on loan.
He's on loan because I've not really seen him play much, and I think Leeds need a striker if they want to stay up. I do think that their squad and Bielsa is good enough, like first 11 wise, to potentially be better than 3 teams next year. I think with West Brom, obviously we got a lot of stick about this on Twitter, saying that their squad is aging. Yeah, actually they have quite a young squad. But a lot of them, as Toby said about Augustine, have been on loan for this season as well. So if they can tie a few of them down to permanent contracts, then they might do well in the Premier League.
Yeah,
I was gonna say. So on Farid's point about Leeds, it's a key. I know obviously he says they're gonna score enough goals. I'm not sure if they're gonna score enough goals, but they're gonna create the chances. We know the way they play, they're gonna create the chances. But I think the recruitment, as we've seen now, the recruitment is so key when you're coming up now. Wolves got it right last year. Aston Villa got it wrong this year, and it's literally the living definition between staying up or going down. I think Ben White has been arguably their best centre-back this season. He's Brighton centre-back. He's going to go back to Brighton now. Brighton are going to be in a position to command big money for him, or they might decide they want to keep him. So, I mean, that's a key. What
about Helder Costa? They bought him permanently.
Yeah, they signed him permanently.
They signed him permanently for 60 million. But me personally, I was saying this to KG. I've seen him a few times for West Brom. I mean for Leeds, and I saw him obviously last year for Wolves. I don't really rate Helder Costa. I think he's got technical quality, but I think in the final third he's a rabbit in headlights. I think his decision making is poor, and in my opinion, when we say they need to get goals, they need players who can either create goals well or score goals.
Yeah, I just think you just need a massive upgrade on Patrick Bamford.
100%.
Like, we've seen him try in the Premier League several times now. I know he wasn't playing in like great creative sides or anything like that. But when I've seen him have actual chances, he's always failed to pack them away in it. So
you put it nicely, Dan. Like he's just trash.
You see the. Steve, I'm not sure if you use Twitter as much as me and Dan. I'm not sure if you've seen it as well, for it. But did you see his response? So basically, I think it was like a day after Wolves' promotion was confirmed, didn't it? And them winning the title, immediately TalkSport have brought out a link saying, "Can Patrick Bamford be the man to sort of keep Leeds afloat?" And he's obviously picked up on it. He's responded to it, quote tweeting it, doing like a sleepy face emoji. I'm like, wait a minute. They have every already. You've played the Premier League like 3-4 times, and you scored like 0 goals.
Like, how the cheek of the guy? What are people not supposed to question him leading any Premiership life?
I think they're going to struggle if they have him up top.
Do you reckon Brentford are going to come up via playoffs? Or
I hope so, man. But
they tend to bottle it. They tend to bottle it.
Yep.
They tend to bottle it, but I hope they do.
They play the best football in that league, I think, them and Leeds by far. But I just think they're going to bottle it. I just can see them bottling it.
Yeah, cool. All right, I know people are chomping at the bit for us to talk United, but I'm not going to go there first. I'm going to quickly touch on, obviously, Hendo getting Writers' Player of the Year and some of the outrage that I've seen on Twitter and social media. Do you lot think it was right call, wrong call? Would any of you have had Hendo as...
Mr.
I'm gonna say
Signor,
this simply.
it's the wrong call. It's the wrong call. It's the wrong call.
It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace.
Well, say it again for this DJ Drogba voice. It's a fucking disgrace.
Disgrace. He's not even been the best player at Liverpool. That's the worst thing. For starters.
That's what I was saying.
And alone, he's not the best player at Liverpool. And I just think if you give it to anyone over De Bruyne, I just think you're wrong, personally. After what he's done this year.
You know, like the thing is, like we discussed this extensively on WhatsApp, right? And it was literally like, I just think journalists, obviously they do have some insight and stuff like that, but I just think collectively sometimes they really just miss the mark, and they like go on this sort of intellectual hype about, you know, about certain players or certain agendas that they want to push, and sometimes it really just goes against what you're actually seeing on the pitch. Like I think Henry Winter said, you know, in his article, Henderson, he was the leader that the whole country needed in a time when they needed it the most, kind of thing. And it's just like, what on earth are you talking about? Do you know what I mean? Like just what are you talking about? Like if you're talking about off the pitch heroics, you know, then someone like Marcus Rashford deserves that award. If you're saying it's nothing to do with footballing merit and it's all to do with, you know, their off the pitch leadership and that kind of thing. And if it is on the pitch stuff, then someone like Kevin De Bruyne or Mane or Trent, who have been the standout performers for Liverpool, deserve the award. So I just think it's just murky territory when they basically collectively decide that we're going to do something against the grain, and it doesn't really wash.
Yeah, I think on that as well. There was actually, so Maiwa from Stoppage TV sort of explained it well. So he gave like a valid sort of viewpoint as to why he won the award, because obviously he's saying with the Football Writers Award, they don't just look at your football ability, they look at your story. So they look at what you're contributing on the field. I mean, off the field, on the field, and just like how you've influenced those around you over the course of the season, and that's fair enough. But even if that was the case, Kevin De Bruyne has been so good this year that he just simply cannot be overlooked for any award. I don't care how many sort of groups you put together to raise money for the Premier League and whatnot. The award is for the best player, and that's him. He's been the best player in the league. It's head and shoulders, and he should have won that. And if he wasn't winning it, if we're basing it on the story thing, like Dan said, then you got to give it to Marcus Rashford. I mean, the guy's put. Like he's put school dinners for how many kids now? Yeah, he's literally got the government to U-turn a decision. So how does Jordan Henderson win it over him? It's weird.
Yeah, I think if you look at last season's as well, they obviously gave Sterling, who had a good season by all accounts, but there were still people performing at a higher level than him on the pitch over the course of the season. So clearly, there's to Maiwa's point, there's not an agenda, but there's a wider context around it than just playing ability. But I don't know, is there going to be a PFA player this season as well?
He shouldn't, not after De Bruyne has just broke the assist record. Surely some sense will be seen, surely. Yeah,
I don't know when they do the vote for the PFA though. I think that one's already. I think that one's already been done. But we'll see who comes out with that. I'll be surprised if fellow players vote for Jordan Henderson, to be honest.
I would be as well.
Same.
I can see that happening. I can genuinely see it happening. I think it's her mentality. But all right, let's get on to the big guns then. Man United finishing third this season.
Big guns, yeah.
Mate, top three. Who would have actually thought it at the start of the season? This guy.
I deserve my coins. I wonder if I'm gonna get my coins.
Yeah. I'll give you some coins, but I'll also take my coins because I did say I backed us to finish top four at the start of the season.
Can we? You know what? Can we slow this down? Because when you lot said this, you said it on a whim. You didn't say it with any conviction, and there was no clear logic for why you were going to do it. Yes. We're Man United. We're Man United. It wasn't based on squad. No. Wait. Chill. It wasn't based on squad quality. It wasn't based on managerial quality. It wasn't based on anything apart from we're Man United fans and we have a hunch that.
No. It was basically. You know what it was? It's because pride wouldn't let them put Arsenal in the top 4. That's literally why.
And where did Arsenal finish?
So
Hey,
no.
right.
It was literally pride. It was literally pride. Just to admit now that it was pride.
No. This is footballing knowledge.
Oh my god.
Footballing knowledge. I called it and it happened.
Football
Let me
heritage.
remove this guy. Let me
Edited.
remove this guy.
Man said heritage.
I can ask, why is Ben on this team as well? We got a guy who knows nothing about football coming to talk about
My long-awaited debut, you know. My long-awaited debut on your show. A voice for the voiceless. That's right now.
Oh, sorry, Steve, sorry, apologies. Did you get back on topic? Sorry.
Yeah, literally. No, I was just starting off with United. I'm going to go to Farid first because you've been absolutely killing Solskjaer over the course of the season. I'm going to come on to Ben after. But
Too right, though.
obviously, yeah, 38 games done. We finished third. Like, how would you analyze this season for Solskjaer and then obviously the players?
Right. Me, as a Man United fan, I'm not biased, so I'll keep it real. This year, it's a very bad Premier League. I'm not going to sit here and lie because on paper, if you actually look at it, I wouldn't sit here and say, like, the way we've played, how inconsistent we've been, I can't actually really say we've been the third best team. I just think, for example, the pandemic came at the right time because obviously it allowed Pogba and Rashford to get fit. So Ollie was lucky in that sense, one. And two, I just think the other teams like Spurs and Arsenal and the other teams have been so bad. Like the standard of the league has dropped big time. So that's the only reason why I think we're third. It's a bit similar to when Mourinho got that second. It was the worst second place finish in the history of the Premier League. I think we've been very lucky, but I'm going to take it and onwards and upwards. Hopefully this will enable us to get better players. But I still, overall, I don't think Ollie's the man for the job. I still don't think tactically is good enough.
No way.
I still think he's very naive, and I think he's going to have to be a manager where you have to back him to the fullest and give him everything he wants and hope that individual quality carries us forward. Because I don't see anything different to when he first come in terms of the football. I just think it's still going to be the same kind of thing. Individual brilliance taking us forward.
I think it's hard.
What are you saying?
That's true. All I know about Ollie is a man manager. That's all he is. He doesn't have any tactical news. He doesn't have any sort of system that's happening with Man United at the moment. There's no system. There's no style of play. There's no system to this. So we're relying on individual brilliance to bail us out of so many different matches that we played.
Yeah.
And you can see it. You can see anytime when we put under any kind of high press or any kind of pressure, we kind of crumble and we just rely on like Martial, Rashford, someone just to do a little bit of brilliance just to help us out. But in terms of from a long-term perspective, I don't think he's the right guy. I don't think he's the right guy.
I think you lot are very harsh on Ole, to be honest, because I think this whole
Dan, would you if he was available now?
That's realistic. I don't think
No.
harsh.
No, because I think at the end of the day, right? Like, I know you lot predicted United getting into top 4, this, that, and the other, but if you look at your squad at the start of the season, I think Ole has done a miracle to get you lot third place in the Premier League, and he could
Miracle.
It's a miracle.
No way, man.
And he could potentially win you the Europa League as well, right? Sasha, you were the one saying that Lampard, if he comes third and wins the FA Cup, he'll get manager.
I didn't say third. I'm not too fussed about Champions League place. Yeah.
He could get manager of the season, but Chelsea have had a better squad than United available for
what? Based on what though? Based on what?
For longer in this season. Ole,
honestly, can sit there and say Abraham is on par with Rashford? Come on.
No, I can say
no way.
I can say Kovacic and Kante, two of the best midfielders in the league. When Ole had no Pogba, no Fernandes for the rest of the season, and I think this whole not having a style of play, I don't have that. I don't have that statement.
I think
for me, just because it's not. Just
Dan, one at a time, children. One at a time.
Let me finish my point before you lot jump in. Yeah, but just because it's not ticking back.
Can I ask you one question? One question. What do you think is United's philosophy then? It's key. What do you think is United's philosophy? What's their approach per game?
Look, they look to get the ball to the forwards quickly. They don't attack in numbers. They look to release Bruno, Pogba, and look to play the forwards in behind quickly, right? Just because it's not tiki taka, just because it's not Liverpool gegenpressing, doesn't mean that they don't have a style of play. What I would say though is it's a very simple tactic, and which is why you're finding it that teams find it easy to shut them down. Right, but I'm not going to sit here and say United don't have a style of play. I'm not going to sit here and say that Ollie is tactically inept, because you've seen him when he's come up against the big teams. He's out tactic a lot of top managers that you would say do have quality style of play and whatnot. I'm not even Ollie's biggest fan. I think you lot are very, very harsh on him. You got the second best defensive
in the big games. Dan, let's be honest, it's not hard to put everyone behind the ball and counter attack. That doesn't take a genius to do that.
So why doesn't every other team do that as successfully as Ollie does?
You need to have pace though. You need to have pace to do that.
Exactly.
You need to have pace, but also the efficiency when you've got that one or two chances in a game.
If it's so easy, every team would win those big games. Do you get
You know what? That's why I said. That being said, Ollie's done well to, I guess, finish in the Champions League spots, and that's why I said for me, long term wise, in terms of winning championships and winning the Champions Leagues and becoming the United of old, if you will. I don't think he's the right person, but right now I think he's done an okay job with the tools that he has at the moment. Like so you can't really ask for much more.
Yeah. Do you guys not think if a top, let's say Pep, right, hypothetically speaking, walks into the Man United dressing room as he is, do you not think that, forget the tiki-taka style of play, in my opinion, I think he would achieve more with this current Man United team than what someone like Ollie would do? That's my opinion.
Ollie's not Pep though. Like no one's saying he's Pep.
I'm not comparing the two. But I just feel like
Guardiola's a better manager than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Like, do you
undervaluing the Man United team? They spend a lot of money on Wan-Bissaka and Maguire. Like, let's not forget their defense. As you guys said, is like the second best in the league or whatever it is. They've got enough there to definitely not be about 35 points or whatever it is behind Liverpool or 20 odd behind City. I feel like Ollie's done okay. I think it's harsh to say that he's done bad. He definitely hasn't obviously done bad, but I agree with the guys that are saying that he's not the guy that's going to take them forward. I don't know what more Ollie's probably going to be able to do that team. I don't think he's got enough about himself tactically. Playing counter-attack against the best team and hoping for the best and getting your penalty. That's not really. That's not going to win you leagues. That's not going to close that 30, 40 point gap.
Why are we still talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Why? We've been talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for 10 minutes now. Why?
Yeah, no, Toby, it's a topic because we could talk about Mourinho,
No, it's But the reason, just one at a time, innit? The reason why I'm saying that is because this guy has got them third. He's got them third, and we're still bashing him here. He's got them third. At the start of the season, we all agreed that all it takes is 2-3 injuries and Man United are done for because there was no depth in that team whatsoever. So I don't care what anyone tells me about Rashford, about Martial, Rare Tete, this, that, and the other. That Man United team at August the 9th or whenever the league started was not good enough to finish in the top 4. It wasn't. And anyone who tells you it was are only Man United fans who are blindly convinced that, because they're Man United, they're going to finish in the top 4. If you analysed it properly, that squad was not tailor-made to finish in the top 4. And he's got them top 4. So what's the issue here?
No, facts.
Wow. Steve, what are you endorsing him? Are you giving him your seal of approval, yeah?
No. You know what? With
Steve is fake, he's fake.
I think with Ole, the thing is, like, to Toby's point, what more could he have done with this squad? And I look at people talking about we've been like quite dire in the last few matches and whatnot, but our personnel is not elite personnel. Yeah, we've got good forwards. But if you compare our teams to teams like that Liverpool and City have, do you know what I mean? They've got strength in depth in numbers, and their managers have the exact teams they want. If you look at our fullbacks, we've got no options when we're going wide. You know what I mean? So everything has to go down through the center, where it has to be quick. And sometimes teams play deep, and it's hard for us to break down. But if I look at the way we're playing now, versus the start of the season, I think there's a massive improvement there. Obviously, we've had Bruno come into the fold, Pogba come into the fold. So obviously we would be better. But people are taking the piss about with social, like we don't have any style of play, we don't have any patterns. Like, give the guy time. He's done the most he could possibly do this season. So I don't think we should be talking about what a bad job Ole's done, or we should be looking for a new manager. I'm not saying he's the guy for the long run or the guy to win us the Premier League, but let's keep him in for now. I'm backing him.
Can we just say as well, yeah? Everyone acknowledges that he is not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not he's not Rodgers. Everyone knows that. And we all said
but
that.
But where do United want to go though? Do you not want to be like in a position where you're actually mounting a title challenge? Or
but you have to
without relying on the final.
Of course, but you have to. But Sasha, you have to back him as well. You have to. If Man United want to get to where they need to be, it doesn't matter who comes in. The manager needs to be back. That was the problem when Jose Mourinho left the club. That was the problem last summer when Ole got rid of all the deadwood that United fans unanimously agreed needed to be sold, and yet he didn't have any replacements coming in. To the point where he's had to wait all the way until January to get a backup striker. He's had to wait all the way until January to get in a proper attacking midfielder. These are players that should have been signed in the summer. And then when he gets in those players, and then you see the upturn in form that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted to give to the club at the time when he needed it, everyone's like, oh no, he should have been doing this before. How could he have been doing it before if he didn't have the players? How does
when you're starting big matches with Fred, Pereira, and Lingard as your midfield three, man. Like, come on, like you have to. It's. I think you just have to be balanced, right? And it's like all fair enough saying, we don't think Ole is going to be the one to take him forward, but you have to give him a chance to show that he's not.
But you know what I found funny? That everyone
he's
that
not
says
been
this,
there for a couple of months though. He's not been there for a couple of months.
Go on, Ben.
I'm just saying, everyone that says this, yeah. If I ask you the question, I just ask you one question. Would you have him as manager for your team? Right now?
Liar if you say yeah. Liar if you say yeah.
Of course I wouldn't.
No, but that doesn't.
That's not the point.
That doesn't mean anything.
Toby, you're right. Saying that, like, he's
Lads,
doing it
one at a time. Go on, Sasha.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that I agree. Like, no one can say he's not done okay, because that would also be a lie. But yeah, given the opportunity, you know that there are better managers out there, and
100%.
None of us would sit here and have Ole as our manager. We just wouldn't. It's as simple as that. But if you want to sit there, United fans, and say that you're really, really proud of him as your manager and happy, fair play. I mean, he might turn out by a miracle to be an excellent manager, but I don't know. Okay, I'm still in doubt over him.
Yeah.
I'm done with this conversation, by the way.
This is the last question I'm going to ask, just directed at Sasha. Yeah, I think we can all say the same thing about Frank Lampard, right? But
I can say the same thing though.
But you and other Chelsea fans will be more than willing to give him the opportunity to prove himself at Chelsea, and that's the only thing that I'm saying. Needs to be done for Ole. So it's just like that's it.
But I agree with you. I also feel as if Lampard might not necessarily be the best person for us to mount a title challenge next year or in 2 or 3 years' time. At the moment, I can back him. But what I can say is, though, defence aside, and I'm sure we'll go on to Chelsea, I've seen more about us and personality-wise and approach in the games than what Ole is putting forward with his Man United team. I feel like Man U rely heavily on individual quality at the moment. That's my opinion, rather than actually having like a systematic approach in winning games. But that, again, it's hard to say because he's third.
I'm gonna bring in my mate Scott. He's a Palace fan as well, so I want to get as many opinions as we can on pretty much this discussion, because I feel like obviously on Sasha's side he's saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer isn't good enough. Ben's saying he's not good enough, and I think on our side I don't think we're saying he is good enough, but I think we're saying he's doing a decent enough job. Is that right? Is that fair to say that?
No. I'm going to put my neck out and say he's done a very good job this season. A very good job this season.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yeah, Ole.
Without doubt.
To get 17 goals out of Martial and Rashford, to get Greenwood into the side playing well as well, to get something out of Fred, and to get Pogba back in the fold with minimal disruption as well. And then you look at the back line, we've got a pretty good defensive record, considering we have Maguire, we had Matic, who at the start of the season was not supposed to even be in our lineups. We've got Lindelof, who's shocking, Aaron Wan, who can't kick a football, and then Luke Shaw, who was overweight for like 2 seasons. So I think, yes, he has done a terrific job. And that's not even me mentioning De Gea, who's been shocking in goal as well. Look at the hand he's been dealt.
Yeah. It's true. So
we were celebrating the Igalo in January. That's how the situation was, fam.
Exactly. Uncle Igalo, he literally moves like a double-decker bus. All right, Scott, just before we move on, thanks for hopping on, mate. So the topic we're discussing is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Do you think what he's done at United this season can be considered a good job?
All right. So he's overachieved definitely this season. Can't knock it. Whatever you say about him and his critics, they don't have a clear style of play. They don't really have a great squad on paper. Not like it's not. No one would have said their squad was a top 4 squad on paper. Really, start of the season. Bruno's come and hit the ground. The thing is, everyone's giving Bruno props here, but the manager has got to get the players working. You've got to give a bit of credit for Bruno because a lot of people have spent big money on players. I can't remember the last time a player come and made that much impact to a whole team style of play. Everything goes through him. He's been scoring a lot of penalties, but they're completely different. Do you know what I mean?
That's the
The thing about Solskjaer and Lampard is you can't really sit there and say you can't judge them against these guys that have been catching W's for ages. They're early in their careers. You probably wouldn't have them because they're not proven yet. But then that said, I probably wouldn't have Solskjaer at Palace. So.
If you said that,
I wouldn't be excited about that appointment.
He makes the biggest defense, then he's just launched an attack at him.
Honestly, I'll just be honest.
That being said, did Man United play well today? I didn't even watch the match.
No, he's scrapping game. Leicester looked like the better side slightly, but Rodgers bottles things, didn't he? For all of his quality. He loved bottling it. Absolutely loved it. They were clear. They looked like they were clear the top 4.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you lot think? I think that's the biggest bottle job that's the biggest bottle job moment I've seen in at least I'm trying to think of a situation.
Gerrard slip surely the biggest bottle job ever.
Yeah,
They came to Istanbul at Palace for the 3-0.
Istanbul, you got a cheek.
The thing with Rodgers, though,
what Suarez playing, beautiful.
The thing with Rodgers is, I feel like if he'd had his first teamers in the back end of the season, I think they might have got the results they needed to.
Yeah.
I can attack him for how they fared from the January to lockdown period, but since lockdown's been back, they've been crippled, man. So if you look at even the team they put out today, like that team shouldn't even be finishing top 10, let alone top 4. Do you know what I mean? So I think he's had a good season. He should have seen it out till 4th, but I don't think we can be critical of him because he's been quite handicapped.
He's overachieved though. He has overachieved.
Yeah.
He's overachieved.
He set himself up through the success for the first 2/3 of the season. Everyone thought, that's it, they're going to get 3rd. And then, a few injuries. But, I mean, the amount of points they've lost, though, that's a little bit unacceptable. It's a little bit unacceptable this part of the season. I thought his spell at Celtic might have given him enough sort of backbone and experience to manage these difficult times, but clearly he's not shaking that time at Liverpool off at the moment, is he? So it's an issue. It's an issue.
I think it's like you said, isn't it? It's like injuries is one thing, but it's depth. When you come these long seasons, when it comes to the business end, that's why the teams that have got legs do the job. Look at Wolves now. Wolves season started almost a calendar year ago. Their squad's still thin. Their centre backs are thin. They've had one. Raul Jimenez has played about 300 games this season. They're leggy. They were never going to go to Stamford Bridge for me.
I don't know, man. Like for 30 minutes, I was shitting myself. We looked terrible, and they looked pretty good. So
but I don't think they look pretty good. I think they look strong defensively, but they had. I mean, you could see it. They had nothing going forward. Like they were trying to play a couple 1-2s, but they had zilch going forward. So for me, I was watching that game and I was like, within like seeing the first sort of 20, 30 minutes, I was like, yeah, they look strong, but it's literally just going to be a case of how much pressure can Chelsea throw at this team until the pressure burst pipes, and it did in the with that kick.
Yeah, here's a question for you guys then. Obviously, next season starting fairly quickly. Chelsea have done some sharp business in the transfer window. How do you lot see the top 6 looking next season from 1st to 6th? I'm going to go to you first, Ben.
1st to 6th. Okay, I think Liverpool are going to have a little bit of a drop off. Especially, I don't know how much they're going to like bolster their squad, but let's say they kept the squad relatively the same. I reckon I can't see them winning a game, so I think it probably go City, Liverpool, Chelsea, United again, Spurs, and yeah, I'm gonna stick my neck up for Mourinho. I think he's gonna turn things around at Spurs, but yeah, that's another.
By getting up one spot.
He's gonna get us to the Almighty hat.
I mean, the way it is, I feel like you take it right now, though. And who's left?
Arsenal, Wolves.
I think Arsenal are done for. Leicester again.
Leicester again. All right. Dan?
Yeah, for me, I think it all depends on what City and Liverpool do in the window. I think if Liverpool get in Thiago, I think they will definitely get that 90 points plus again. And then whether or not City can do that will depend on what they do with their defence. For me, I think they need a new left back. I think they need at least 2 centre backs as well. And I think they need a centre back with the leadership qualities that they lost in Vincent Kompany. This is one of my main criticisms of Brendan Rodgers as well. Is I think the top managers, when it comes to crunch time, they can really grind out those like 1-0 wins and just get their teams over the line. And I don't think Rodgers has been able to do that just yet. Like even when City were defending the title, they won a lot of games 1-0. Do you know what I mean? Even that, them being the most expansive side, and we've seen Wenger sides do it in the past as well. Like when you need that top 4 or all your finances are going to go out the window, then you can just grind out a 1-0. And I don't think City are equipped to do that without signing those 2 centre backs, and they lost the ability to do that when Vincent Kompany left. So I think it'll be Liverpool, City. I can't look past Chelsea and United for 3rd and 4th, based on what I know they're going to spend in the summer. I think you will probably go back to your traditional top 6 next season. Hopefully, Arsenal can invest some money, but I don't see what we can do to break into that top 4. And I don't really see what Spurs can do to break into that top 4 either.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Scott, I'm gonna go to you next, bud.
I think Liverpool will spell now. Back-to-back Champions League finals, dominated the Prem this year. I think they'll make small additions. I feel like their group is harmonious. So I'm saying, like, even if you look at this season, there wasn't really standout player like what they didn't get carried by Salah at this time, Mane at this time, Virgil. So many, they share the responsibility so much throughout the side. I feel like their system is a well-oiled machine right now. And I feel like they'll if they had something like a Thiago or that sort of play, even though they've got 700 centre midfielders already, if they were to add someone who's a little bit more agile, has a bit of guile about him, you know what I mean, and a bit of creativity further up the pitch, I feel like we go a long way. I feel like Man City is a funny one. I feel like Guardiola don't really know what the issue is right now. Like you see certain times, like when they're 4-0 up, you see him looking up to the sky and talking to himself and this. You know what I'm saying? Like, he does sympathy, really. Like everything was about players in this group. Aguero, it's a funny one, isn't it? He's always going to go through his spells with banging goals, but he's on the wane. You know what I'm saying? And Jesus isn't that. He's not that guy to step into his shoes whatsoever. Sane's been a loss this season because I feel like even Sterling he plays it further up the pitch now, but he plays a bit more narrow than he has done historically. He scores a lot more goals now, whereas Sane's the real wide man. He gives them the natural width and the legs down that side. So I mean, I feel like they missed that sort of player. David Silva's obviously going. They spent most of the season with Fernandinho at centre half. I feel like there's a lot of little niggly things that need addressing. Do you know what I mean? I don't really see them pushing on to push Liverpool all the way this season. Look how far off they were. Do you know what I mean? And then third and fourth, United and Chelsea have got back in the Champions League now. Chelsea have already spent big money. Do you know what I mean? Before they even secured top four, like Frank's proved himself now. Do you know what I mean? He come in with a transfer ban. It was a no-lose situation. Now Roman's got his money out. He's spending. But then there's pressure next season. It's a whole different aspect psychologically for him. Do you know what I mean? This year, like you said, it was no-lose transfer ban. Came in, played the kids, attacking free-flowing football. If it weren't shit, Chelsea fans would be happy as Frank. You know what I'm saying? Whereas next year, big players now, Zaha, Werner, maybe Havertz as well. Do you know what I mean? If they come in, if they have a bad start to the season and some of these players don't hit the ground running, you know what the media is like. The media will turn real quickly. There'll be this whole narrative. I know Frank's won it all, do you know what I'm saying? But whether you can deal with that sort of pressure is different. Frank ain't really gone through that in his career. He's always been the media darling. No one's ever really got onto his back like that, do you know what I'm saying? So, but then I feel like they should deliver with them players. United will spend and go fourth. Fifth and sixth, I think Jose will tick over at first. He'll push. There's a lot of work to do there. And what happens in this summer will be interesting because Daniel Levy's put himself in a little bit of a difficult position because of the way that he operated historically in a financial sense. But now they've had obviously the whole issue with the stadium. And they lost a lot of events with the NFL and this, that, and the other. Like their stadium, that whole project was fundamentally based on a lot of money they could make outside of football. So they've taken a much bigger L on the match revenue than the rest of the league would. And when you're paying off a stadium, you know what I'm saying, you're only treading thin ice for a few years after that. So, but then at the same time, there's issues with the squad. Do you know what I mean? This old age, this old style way, they've always had to try to hold on to is probably broken now. So I feel like they're in a difficult position, but Jose is the kind of guy who can grind through those situations. He's experienced. He might not be the most exciting man in the world, but I feel like he was probably the fault there. And then, I don't know, six or top up. I don't really like anyone. Maybe Newcastle. The money spent, bring Rafa back. You know what I'm saying? I'll have Newcastle six.
I hear that. All right, Sash. I want to know what you think of Lampard's performance overall this season. Because some people were calling him manager of the season. I personally think he's done okay. I wouldn't rate him any higher or any lower than Ole. But I want to get your thoughts on him this season. And do you think he's the man to lead you lot back into the big time?
I think you guys touched on it really well earlier about this year. I agree, he's had a bit of a safety blanket, you know, with everything that happened with the transfer, playing the young guys. Next season's, I think, huge for Lampard. You ain't going to get away with it, I think, if he starts conceding these number of goals. But I think a lot of that also comes down to how we actually get someone in terms of defensively and as a goalkeeper. I think, in my opinion as well, in terms of where we finish the season, it really massively comes down to the defence because, yeah, we've made these huge signings offensively, but if we really want to break into that 80-point barrier or the high 70s to start closing that gap up, you're not going to do that with this current defence. Right now, he's having to sort of have a makeshift five at the back just to cover our weaker players, and you're losing one man offensively for that. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I'd obviously put Frank Lampard third. I've made that pretty clear, Dan, as in the league. But yeah, no higher than that. I mean, pretty interchangeable with Ollie. Again, I'll probably class him a little bit higher than him. But yeah, there's not much in it really. I mean, for me, I'm happy with what I'm seeing from him. But yeah, he really needs to improve how we are defensively because I don't even as Chelsea fans, as much as we love him as a player and a legend and everything, I don't really know how much more we'll forgive him for conceding the number of goals that we concede. It's pretty unacceptable. Like 3 against West Ham, Palace. He's got to improve as well on his management of games. sometimes you just got to accept that you might draw a game. And that's actually one thing I'll rate about Arteta, which is why I actually think Arsenal will do quite well next season. He's got good management. Yeah, you guys draw a lot of games, but you don't lose that many. And he's changing that mentality a little bit at Arsenal. So with better players, you might be able to change those into wins. But Lampard, he's got to do more of that. He's got to try and see some games off as draws, because at the end of the season, some of those points matter. You know, we wouldn't have even had to be in this situation if we'd, say, drawn against West Ham. There'd be much less pressure on us on the final day of the season. So, yeah, that's the main area he's got to improve personally, is how we set up defensively.
All right, Toby, going to sort of dovetail Spurs and Palace here. Spurs getting the draw against Palace. I don't want to talk too much on Spurs, but we've got to address Mourinho celebrating at full time as if he just qualified for the Champions League. What is going on there, mate? Is this how far stock has fallen that this is what he's doing now?
You know what's crazy? I kid you not, I switched off that game. The minute Palace equalized, I switched off that game because Wolves are already losing 2-0. Like, what do I have to watch that game for? Like, we didn't look like we were going to score. And then, like you said, the manager, this was a guy who 10 years ago was celebrating. So what? It's 2020. This is a guy who literally 10 years ago was celebrating beating Bayern Munich in the Champions League final 2-0, deserved victory to win a Champions League, and now he's celebrating like a madman, like a dog on heat for maybe qualifying for Europa League, subject to Arsenal's performance in the FA Cup. It just goes to show how low he's plummeted, and it just goes to show how low we've plummeted this season as well as a team, because we were putting up all these quotes about, oh yeah, Spurs, Tottenham, it's the only place in London you can watch Champions League football. Now look at us. We might not even have Europa League next year. So
no, you do have it. You do have it. You came sixth.
Yeah, that's why they're celebrating.
Yeah. So
confirmed.
Yeah, Europe's confirmed for you.
So wait, so it's confirmed, but we have to play. We have to start our season earlier than usual anyway. So
I think it might just be linked to the, like. I mean, I'm not condoning those celebrations at all. I think that was definitely I was actually surprised to see that, because obviously Toby gives it large about how his team, you know, they don't over celebrate this, that, and the other. He's always telling me off for,
I didn't even see it, so
for being too happy about Arsenal wins. Yeah, but I was surprised to see Mourinho react like that. But I think maybe it's to do with the financial burden that the club would have had to face without any Europe. And I think Mourinho, obviously people call him checkbook manager, this, that, and the other, but I think that would have just been a massive worry on the back of his mind, not being able to go out in the summer and invest in that team.
Nah, but Dan, for me, it's just a worry about the manager himself. Someone who's normally so astute, so clever with the press, in recent years celebrating a second place finish. Now you're celebrating.
He called it a treble.
Honestly, and now you're not even celebrating like going deep in the tournament. You're celebrating qualifying for the Europa League. Like you'd expect celebrations like that from a Burnley. Do you know what I mean? So
no one's doing it. You know what? Amazon, bro. The Amazon documentary.
Yeah, the doc. Yeah.
The theatre of it. It's been a miserable season. It's been miserable. That documentary's going to be. It's going to be sore. It's going to be so sore. It's going to be miserable. Like, and it's the one little bit at the end of the season. They went into the day 7, finished 6th, have a little celebration. They'll spud each other, put some Afro beats on changing rooms. You know what I mean?
Can I just?
You ain't wrong.
Can I just say, obviously, before you move on to Scott about Palace, can I just say as well, the match was devoid of quality from our end as well. The defending was shocking for the goal. Fans were screaming for Eric Dyer to come in. If you go watch that Crystal Palace goal, he's literally marking thin air. He's marking thin air, whilst the biggest player on Palace's team had a free header at goal, a free header to knock it back towards goal. So pathetic defending for that. But also my last point, Harry Kane. That's 18 league goals for the season, 5 goals in 3 matches. If you saw his finish today, I'd challenge anyone to tell me that the guy's finished. He is firmly back, and he's coming for that golden boot next year. If he stays fit, he's coming for that golden boot next year. That's a fact.
What happened with Sanchez? Because he didn't start today. What was that all about? Was he injured?
He wasn't injured. It's because Mourinho loves off this Eric Dyer guy. So any opportunity he has to shoehorn Eric Dyer into the team, he'll do it.
Yeah, no, he does seem to love Dyer. Cool. All right, Palace then. Not a team we've spoken about much this season, and not a team we'll probably speak much about next season. But obviously, they've been on, I think before today, it was like 7 straight L's.
Yeah.
However, they weren't really in the relegation battle this season. I think it's 14th they've managed to finish this season. Without a firing Zaha, without perhaps what you'd call an out-and-out striker, although Jordan Ayew has done pretty well over the course of the season. How are Palace fans rating the season, and where do you expect to go next year?
Everything's just boring. Everything's just boring at the minute. Like we're just this boring mid-table side. We play boring football. We've got a boring manager. Everything's just boring, man. You can't go to the stadium. Football's such a boring experience as a Palace fan right now. You know what? But there are deeper lying issues. The thing is about Hodgson, as boring as he is, he's dependable. Do you know what I mean? And the thing about Palace fans right now, and I'm one of them, and I probably do think he should go in the summer, but you got to be very careful because behind the scenes, our club does not invest, right? And when we have invested, we've invested badly. We've spent big money on marquee players. We've got Benteke, who's on 130. He came on, and the thing is about Benteke is that, John Stokes, my friend said to me, he's a bit like a casual football fan. He said to me a couple of weeks ago, he was like, there's 2 Bentekes, isn't it? And there might as well be 2 Bentekes. But the one who was at Villa all them years ago, where is he, bro? I haven't seen him for years. Especially since he did his ACL at Liverpool. But to buy a player who's been off form for a while off the back of an ACL injury is risky and it hasn't paid off. He's finished. And I don't know there's talk of him going to China. I don't know who's going to pay him any wages. We've got an old squad. We've got Sacco. Sacco we had on loan when he obviously wanted a contract and he needed to get into the France squad. I've never seen that player again. And it's frustrating because on his day, he's probably the best centre-half has ever played for our club. He's an international quality, top-class centre-half. His distribution is good. He reads the game well. But he's another player who sat there and he's on big money. Zaha doesn't want to be there anymore. And the thing is, he's played through that for a long time, but I don't know how much longer. He hasn't had a great season. Even again, the tactics don't suit him. More time we're playing him up front in a 4-4-2. But we only started the season with 1 striker. You got Conor Wickham who plays about 15 minutes a year. And then he got fit and we loaned him out to Sheffield United. And you got Ayew again, who's a great wide forward, but he's not really a number 9. You can't play him wide in a 4-4-2. Scott,
I wanted to quickly ask a question though. Do you think that we can still pin this whole Zaha don't want to be at this club? Can we still let him off with that excuse? Because we know he don't want to be at the club, but we've been saying this all season now. He's only turned, in my opinion, the restart, probably the last, let's say, 4 or 5 games are the best version of Zaha I've seen this season. And I personally think a player of his quality, a player who's as professional as he is, earning, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's at your joint highest earner or whatnot. But do you think that it's acceptable that we can still keep saying, okay, he don't want to be at the club? So that explains why he's dropping a 2 out of 10 this game. I think it's been, me personally, I think it's been pretty unacceptable from Wilf for quite a lot of the season, you know.
He's had a poor season. But in last season, he got double figures goals and assists. Do you know what I mean? And that's at Palace. And this is the thing about, and the thing is about, I've watched that boy grow from when his first debut when he was 17 years old. And I've had season tickets ever since. I've watched him grow, yeah? And it's part of me, I want him to go. I want to go and see what he can achieve. Because the thing is about Wilf is, I watch him every week and you don't see the amount of runs he makes that people don't find him. You don't see the amount of passes he plays and things that he looks for, and he hasn't got the players to get on the end of it. He's playing with very limited players around him, and he's been doing it for a long time. He's not only carrying these players, but he's getting things out of these players. If you put him with better players around him, he will flourish. I know he hasn't had a great season this year, but he's had a bad season. Do you know what I mean? He's a human being. He wanted to go for a while, and he's paid his due to Palace. And the money that we're asking for him now, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the summer. It's a different market now. We're not getting those 60 M's. We turned that down last summer. Do you know what I mean?
I was going to say, so what sort of price do you think he can leave for this year? Because I think you're asking for 70 million last year. I actually really wanted him at Arsenal to play on that left side. I thought I agree with you. I think he'd do a lot better with some better players in and around him. But I just think now that, given he's 28 now, you're asking for like 40, 50 million potentially coronavirus, that, clubs are probably going to look elsewhere if they have that amount to spend on one player, probably someone younger that probably has some resale value. Do you know what I mean? Because I think now that's a much bigger risk to take on Zaha this summer.
Yeah, it's Joe. What it's unfortunate for him, and I feel like he's been badly advised at his end. He sacked his agent last summer, and he's gone and got that Pin Zahavi in to try and obviously get him a move. But there's been situations where like Arsenal, Tottenham, and Chelsea, to a degree, at one point, especially Arsenal and Tottenham, needed that player. So I mean, Arsenal haven't really. I mean, Tottenham haven't had that wide player with the dangerous pace since Lennon. Really, Moura coming, he's not really that guy. Arsenal spent their Pepe money on him, and it's now I don't really know where else he looks. Chelsea have got their business done going forward. I can't see it. He's not going to go back to United. City need a Sane replacement maybe, but I don't really see where his move is now, and especially again, in today's market, I think he's. Do you know what I mean? At this summer, I think he's worth 40 million quid to a team that needs him. I think City, I'd love to see him go City. I think he get minutes. Everyone gets minutes at City.
I think Spurs would be a good move for him, in my opinion, because I agree now, Chelsea probably don't need him. Arsenal maybe still need him. But yeah, I think Spurs would be a good move because you need some.
They're skint though. They're looking at Ryan Fraser.
We ain't got the funds to build.
Ryan Fraser on free transfer. That's your business done.
North London ain't got the facilities for Zaha.
Trust me, we ain't got the facilities, big man. All right. No. So obviously Scott, because obviously we did an episode with Ed Aarons like a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure if you So because I spoke to him recently on WhatsApp, and I was actually just quizzing him about Palace, innit? Because obviously you lot signed Nathan Ferguson. That I think that's quite a really good bit of business. That's a great signing from you lot. But generally speaking, yeah. A lot of Palace fans are in the same position as you, where they're like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe it's time we need to make a change with Roy Hodgson, rare tear. But then I'm seeing you lot linked with like Sean Dyche, and I'm like, I didn't understand it because I'm like, okay, so you want to get rid of Roy Hodgson, who's dependable. I know he's boring. He may not give you some tiki-taka attacking football, but really and truly, is Sean Dyche gonna be any sort of different in terms of playing style? Maybe results-wise, I think he might be able to get better results for you lot, but in terms of playing style, is it going to be any different?
Do you know the thing about Sean Dyche is that we will be the last team in the world playing 4-4-2. It'll be like 20 fucking whatever, and we'll be the last team in the top 5 leagues of Europe playing 4-4-2. But right, Sean Dyche doesn't get enough respect. Like, have you seen that Burnley squad on paper?
Yeah,
like they haven't really got any good players of note. Like they've got no marquee players. Like he's done it on about he's got like a £5,000 net spend. You know what I mean? Like, so many wages. No one wants to live there. But yet a couple of weeks ago they were pushing for Europe. Like they're massive overachievers. Like
they are.
The thing about like we tried to go saucy and got the ball, and Steve Parish shit himself in about 3 weeks. Like it was, but the thing is,
no, come on. The ball was terrible. What
did Mourinho called the boy? He said he's the worst Premier League manager of all time. Yeah.
There's a case for it here. Like, he put Milovojevic centre back, Andrews Townsend right wing back. I don't know what he was trying to do. And then, but the thing is, if you go down, obviously, you have to have a conversation with him about his tactics before you give him a contract. He just wanted to go to. They did a deal in Ibiza. It's such a Steve Parish thing to do. On Instagram. Have you noticed one thing, right? Look at this. Next transfer window, yeah? See on Sky Sports News. Who else's chairman takes the picture with a player? Nobody. Everyone's always the manager. But it's always Steve Parish there with his readies out. Like, yeah, like. You know what I mean? He likes to shine a lot, and I feel like he went saucy with the bar. and he shit himself after 6 games. So you've got to ride it out for a bit longer than that. But look, I would take Sean Dyche just because I feel like Hodgson is almost dead, and we need to. You know, like no, but he's an old man. He's an old boy. I love him to bits. Yeah. Like, he's sometimes in the dugout, you look at him and you think, you want to sit down, mate. So I'm saying, like, you've got Ray Lewin in there, the defense. I mean, you like him. I went to him a charity thing, and if you hear him talk about football, this is the thing about one thing about Roy Hodgson. He's a very intelligent, educated man. And the tabloid press when he was at England, they attacked him as they do, and they made a thing out of his speech impediment. Right? He's been all over Europe. He speaks 7 languages. Yeah. He has success international level. You go to Malmo and say the name Roy Hodgson, and they will tell you exactly what time it is. You know what I'm saying? He's a well-respected man.
Would they rate him higher than Ole at Malmo?
Yeah. No, Ole come from thingy, no?
Mold.
Same thing. Respect my But I think that's a nice way for us to segue into.
Nice. I would say we'll do the job for now. I don't think, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's a nice way for us to segue into manager of the season. Obviously, we've had some stellar performances from certain managers this season. Dan, your man Chris Wilder doing the business, whose name I only learned in January. Klopp obviously winning the title. Steve Bruce done a pretty good job at Newcastle as well. So I just wanted to get you guys' thoughts on who you think the manager of the season this year has been, and a quick thought on why. So I'm going to come to you first, Sash. No Lampard, please.
Now, obviously, Klopp wins it hands down. I don't really think that's debatable. Wilder, he's obviously a close second. I won't mention his name. You know who's third. I actually say someone who's disappointed me here is Carlo. I expected a little bit more from him at Everton this season. You know,
their squad is poor, man.
No, yeah, I don't know. Maybe just because of someone with his CV and his stature in the management world, I just thought he might be able to do a little bit more. But like, for example, losing today to Bournemouth, I get it. Everton don't have quite as much to fight for compared to Bournemouth, but yeah, I definitely expected a lot more from Carlo Ancelotti. I mean, I was quite surprised by his appointment. I just didn't see that one coming. But yeah, he's probably been someone who I'd class as a disappointment this year. But yeah, I think Klopp wins it. We've mentioned the likes of Sean Dyche. He's obviously done really, really well. Steve Bruce, he's done well. You guys mentioned Nuno as well. Obviously, choked a little bit today, but you know, he was up against a better manager, I think. So,
all right, Dan. With that, I'm coming to you.
Ridiculous. Yeah, I know. I agree. I think you have to give it Klopp. I think Chris Wilder, definite second for me. I think he's done an amazing job, because I think before the season, I think everyone had Sheffield United as straight down, considering the money that they spent, and that barely invested in the squad. It's pretty much the same squad they had last year with a couple of additions. So I think he's done a fantastic job. And then third for me would probably be Nuno. I think given the fact that their season started way back when, in like June, they've been playing for over a year now, I think, and the fact that they've managed to fight for so long in a lot of those competitions, and to be almost in the qualifying for Europa again, I think those are the top three for me.
Yeah. All right, Toby, I'm going to go to you for who you think the player of the season this year has been.
Boy, you can't look past Kevin De Bruyne. I'm sorry. I mean, Man City won 5-0 today. He scored 2 goals, created another goal. He's matched Henry's record for the season. That's 13 Premier League goals and 20 assists in the league. Like, I don't think we've seen these type of numbers from a midfielder in a long time. Like, I think that I'm trying to remember how many.
I think Lampard was he got like he got like
no, that's what I was going to say. So I don't think we've seen. I think the last player to put up serious numbers like this for midfield was probably Yaya Toure this season when Man City picked Liverpool for the title. And I think, obviously, in a season where Man City have been quite, by their standards, not general standards, by their standards, they've been quite inconsistent. I think they lost something like 9 league games or something like that. that's unheard of for Pep Guardiola's side in the past 2 seasons. So I think you have to give it to him. He's the standout player, best midfielder in the planet, and he's been one who's been at he's been at an 8 out of 10 or above for pretty much start to finish this season for them. So he has to get it.
All right, and then Scott, to you, any different from that with that Kevin De Bruyne shout for player of the season?
I think now that he broke the assist record as well. He's done everything this year, and they haven't even had a great season. He scored every type of goal. He's had mad assists. But I'll tell you one thing though. I feel like if you had to look at Liverpool, their standout player this year has probably been Trent. If you had to pick one for me, over because Salah and Mane, by their standards, neither of them have had their best season. Henderson, he's the media darling. He's England. He's come from Sunderland and all that, and he's like very functional, but he's not great. He hasn't had. I don't feel like he's had the impact that everyone has said. And although there was a stage in the season made them tick, by then, like it's debatable whether he starts in a full strength side. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if he want, like, do you know what I'm saying? And then I think Trent for me has pushed on, and there's talk, and there's all. I feel like people are getting ahead of themselves. Oh, he's like revolutionised the position and blah blah blah. And they've got a style with that false 9 and the wide forwards, which allows the fullbacks to go to places that like they've never been before in the Premier League, most probably. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like he's just the technical game, the things he's done this year, he's doing mad things. You can tell he's in a mad place in his mind. He's pinging 60-yard balls all over the pitch, mad assist, scoring free kicks. I think you've got to give it to De Bruyne, but a special mention for Trent.
Well, Trent will probably win Young Player of the Year, though, won't he? But I do think he
has to win it.
Yeah, no, he has to win Young Player of the Year, but I think that's almost like a bit of a cop-out because he is actually in contention for Player of the Year as well. Easily.
Yeah, he is.
Easily. I think consistently over the season, he's probably... In fact, speaking to a lot of Liverpool fans, he started the season a little bit weak, actually. He was struggling a bit in the early days. But, I'd say he's consistently been Liverpool's best player. Salah and Mane...
I think Mane's been their best player.
Mane's... I mean, I think it's debatable. I think it's... Yeah, it could be either of them. I don't think Salah's been consistently good this season. Hendo, no, not for me, not for Player of the Season. I get why maybe he got the Writers' Award, but I don't think you can give him that award over the likes of De Bruyne and probably Mane or Trent. There's no way. That would be just not completely injustice.
Toby, you said Mane. Do you think that by his standards he's had a great season?
Yeah, I do. I think he's got like what is it? He's got like 17 league goals. Bear in mind, Sadio Mane
clutch goals as well, though.
Yeah,
he's got some big goals.
Exactly. Yeah. He don't take penalties as well. Like he's another season where he's netted over 20 goals in all competitions as well. If you look at the big games they played this season, you look at the Super Cup, he was their best player there. You look at Aston Villa, he scored that clutch goal. Norwich away, he scored that clutch goal. Scored against us when they were 1-0 down, and he turned it around and won 2-1 as well. Scored against that was Jordan Henderson. Scored against Man City as well. All the big matches, he's stood up more so than Salah for me. So I think it has to be him, Trent, or VVD. If I was picking a Liverpool player to win it, it's between those three, and I think Mane's been the best of the lot.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think that brings us nicely to a close. It's been an interesting Premier League season. To be honest, not many people back Liverpool to win the title, but here we are. Ole's still at the wheel at the end of the Premier League season as well, which not many foresaw. And Jose Mourinho in charge of Spurs, which is...
It's a nightmare.
It makes me lick my lips every time I hear it. This has been the Tap-In podcast. We'll be back when the Champions League and the Europa League are on. And, of course, we'll be back when the new season of the Premier League starts. It's great having you guys here online. Dan, do you want to plug our socials as you so love to do?
Oh, yeah. Give me one more chance to do that, because obviously you won't need me for them European podcasts, innit? But yeah, obviously, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. Follow us on Tapinfootball on all social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, even LinkedIn now if you want to connect with us on a professional level. Just jump on all the socials.
Wait, we have a LinkedIn account. This is how we.
Wow.
What a man.
Thank you guys. Peace out.
Cheers.